This is the last episode on Martin Luther. In the previous video, we saw how he decided to get married to confirm his stance against celibacy and how he was getting used to married life. Martin and Katie had 6 children in all. Like all marriages, Martin, after a day of lecturing students, preaching and chatting with students, wanted to rest, whilst Katie, after a day with children, animals and servants, wanted to chat with an equal. But this rhythm did not seem to coincide for Martin and his wife. At one time, he locked himself in his study for 3 days, innocently at work, only for Katie, who did not understand him then, had the door pulled down. Martin exclaimed, "I wasn't doing any harm." Katie did not want to be like Martha, mostly in the kitchen. She was just content sitting at his side while he worked and asking him questions from time to time. And Martin did not want to be bothered by her like Mary. Martin's weakest virtue was patience. He said he had to be patient with the people, heretics, his family, and his wife Katie. Katie had to be more patient with her genius husband. He was sometimes melancholic, which made him ill, and vice versa. Because he often sat up late reading well into the night, Martin also suffered from catarrh, insomnia. Katie, however, nursed him back to health with a proper diet and herbs, among others. He said his ailments are not natural but bewitchments. Once, after Katie had given him his medicine for his headaches, he exclaimed, "My prescription is written in John 3:16. The Luther household grew bigger with the couple's 6 children, plus Martin's nephews and nieces. They were now occupying the Augustinian monastery where Martin trained as a monk. The building was given to them by the government and has 40 rooms on the top floor, which they used to house guests, students, and visitors from around the world due to Martin's popularity. All 40 rooms were sometimes full of visitors. Some of these guests come in unexpectedly. To help her cope with the growing calls, Katie brought in some of her relatives to help her. Martin, however, thrived in that atmosphere. The students listened to him and asked questions during supper. This brought about the famed table talks. The students later publicly published thousands of their entries from table talks. Katie called him Doctor in public conversation. She also called him my Lord most of the time. They also had a sense of humor. Once during table talks, when Katie sought to get him to stop talking and rather eat, Martin replied that women should repeat the Lord's Prayer before opening their mouths. Martin also sometimes called her my chain. Katie was a good mother and efficient housekeeper. She managed the farms, gardens, orchards, and livestock wisely. She saw the household was expanding, and she made prudent policies that helped her in managing their home. Katie went on to acquire an additional garden through which ran a brook, from which she fished for the family's meals. Martin was not too enthusiastic about acquiring an additional garden though. Such a busy housekeeper, she found time to read the Bible, being prodded and encouraged by Martin to do so. The wish to live in a Christ-like manner was not absent from their affairs. When things got tough, Katie would say, "Ave Maria," to which Martin would respond, "Why don't you ask Christ to help you?" A sense of good humor was not absent from their relationship. Once when he was traveling, Martin remembered the many things his wife had to do at home, which caused her a lot of concern. He jokingly wrote, "To my saintly worrying Lady Catherine Luther, if you don't stop worrying, I'm afraid the earth will swallow us up. Pray and let God worry. Cast your burden on the Lord." He also often referred to St. Paul's epistle to the Galatians as my Catherine von Bora because it is closer to his heart. The reading of this epistle actually led to his spiritual rebirth. Martin learned to appreciate marriage during his 20 years with Katie. They both learned much from each other, their children, and also from their experiences, which shaped their character. Husbandly duties included hanging out his children's washed nappies on the drying line. Referring to the parable of marriage where Jesus turned water into wine, Martin said, "The first love is drunken. When the intoxication wears off, then comes the real love." They both know Christ has tasted the wine of their marriage, so if it appears to be running out, he will refill it. He realized, contrary to his thinking of matrimonies as a necessity for the flesh, that it was rather an opportunity for the spirit. Because of course, fruits of the spirit would come into play so much in a marriage if both are walking in the spirit. Both of them had quick tongues, so you can imagine arguments were not foreign to the Luther family. But Martin quickly came to the conclusion that Adam and Eve might have had a lot of squabbles. Eve would say, "You ate the apple," and Adam would retort, "You gave it to me." Martin's home was always a refuge for him. They did have a good marriage. Together they revolutionized the concept of marriage as it was held in those days. They also loved their children, knowing how it hurts to lose two of them. Some of the challenges they faced were religious disputes and his worsening health. Sometimes he was bitter, cantankerous, and unbending, to the extent some of his friends thought he might undo all he has accomplished. But history tells us it did not happen that way, as one cannot hinder the move of the Spirit the way God desires. Martin died at the age of 62 in 1546. Some of his notable sayings are, "To have peace and love in marriage is a gift which is next to the knowledge of the gospel." Decrying men who marry mainly for physical reasons, he said, "Marriage is no joke. It must be worked on and prayed over. To get a wife is easy, but to love her with constancy is difficult, for the mere union of the flesh is not sufficient. There must be a congeniality of taste and character which doesn't come overnight." Love begins when we wish to serve others. The Christian is supposed to love his wife, who is his nearest neighbor, and he should also be his dearest friend. Nothing is sweeter than harmony in marriage, and more distressing than dissension. Let the wife make her husband glad to come home, and let him make her sorry to see him leave. Listeners, so this is it for Martin and Kate Luther. I hope you've learned some lessons and gained some tips.